Hey, HR friends, welcome back. We're in the 4-7 emotional 6.5 day sequence. We're going to talk about day four. Day four is right here in this white rectangle. Now, we always start out by talking about this unseen electromagnetic pattern. When we broke the mathematics of the space time construct we exist in, it allowed us to map out this electromagnetic pattern. And understanding when this pattern will elevate is a huge advantage. You see, we're sentient beings, which means we're emotional, and we're supposed to work through our emotions in positive ways. Now, what we didn't realize is there was an unseen pattern that actually agitates our physical design. You see, we all have a defensive system of control strapped to our bodies. It's called the fight or flight mechanism. And when this pattern starts to elevate, and we always warn viewers about the number four. If it gets to a four or a level above, it's really going to agitate your defensive design. Does that mean you're not being agitated down here? No, you are. This is agitating your defensive design, but the higher this pattern gets and the longer this pattern stays elevated, the more likely it is you're going to act defensively and you're going to do one of two things. You're going to try to run away or ignore your problems, or you're going to stand up and fight and make your problems worse. Now, knowing when we're going to be manipulated and not allowing it to manipulate you allows you to eliminate your stress. That is very beneficial. You see, stress is what accelerates aging, and stress is what accumulates to create future states of disease. So, by understanding this pattern, you can slow aging and you can stop the progression of future states of disease. And this is a predetermined pattern. So, if you let this predetermined pattern stress you out, that's why you get predetermined conditions later in life. Good news is this day four, the pattern's really not that elevated. And even into the rest of this week, it stays pretty calm here. So take advantage of this calm or smooth sailing, okay? And what we want to do here is we not only want to not create more stress for ourselves, but we want to maybe work on alleviating some of the past stress that we've left unattended. So that's enough about the electromagnetics here. There's no big thing going on here, both first person, third person, not so much. And combined, you can see four and below for this next 24-hour period of time. Now, that electromagnetic pattern, what's it trying to do? Well, it's obviously trying to get us to act defensively. It manipulates our choice and it makes us not want to get along with our team. Well, that's what this whole thing is about. When we broke this sentient space time construct, we figured out what the objective is. Now, we've wondered for thousands of years what life is about. Now you know. This is what it's about. We're all born into families, and we're supposed to be getting along with those families, and not just the one we come from, all of the families we coexist with. What we're supposed to do is overcome our defensive design, cooperate with every family member, work through our stress, and balance our routines. You see, that's the other half of this objective. Not only do we have to get along with our families, but we have to create routines with our families that make the world better for all the future families that are going to come. You see, the problem is this: we're designed to be defensive. There's an unseen pattern getting us to fight with one another. And what it's done is it's convinced us for thousands of years to overinvest in our own individual and family strategies. And we've done this because we're trying to strategize for the future. We're trying to give our individuals and our families an advantage. And when everybody tries to give their own individuals and their own families an advantage, and they do this for long periods of time, that's what's creating all this chaos at the larger level. That's why our national perspective and our world perspective isn't getting along right now, because we can't get individuals and families to agree on what it is we're supposed to be doing. Well, now that we've broken this construct, now that we understand this objective, let me explain what you got to do. And let me explain what happens if you don't do it and what happens if you do it. Now, to simplify this, there are frequencies that make our existence possible. And we have connected the frequencies of life to how they're connected to the quadrants of every individual's body. And what this means is if you're out of balance with your teammates, or if your routine is out of balance, meaning your routine helps you or your family or your nation more than it helps the other families, individuals, or nations, the more out of balance your routine is, and the more out of balance your relationships are, the more you're going to suffer. The more your body is going to experience accelerated aging, and the more you're going to have diseases in the quadrants of your body where you're having the hardest time balancing. That's how simple this is. So, if you balance, if you commit to your team, and you commit to a routine that helps all families, all individuals, all nations, which makes an interconnected, prosperous world so that every future generation, no matter what family they're born in or what nation they're born in, they get an equal opportunity, then you're in perfect alignment with these frequencies. You'll slow the aging process to a crawl. You'll stop and can even reverse states of disease within your own body. And the best part is this. If you commit to this pattern and you do this where you balance with your teammates and you balance your routine until your last day in this simulated experience, you get rewarded by leaving this negative feedback system. You see, there are two ways you can exist in space time reality. You can be in the negative side or the positive side, and it's obvious we're in the negative side. We're designed to be negative, and what that does is it makes us learn, and we learn by suffering. Now, if you can overcome your desire to be defensive, which makes you suffer, and you can commit to a peaceful approach going forward, then when you leave this place, you get to go to a positive feedback loop where it's easy to get along and good things happen instead of what we're currently in, where it's tough to get along and bad things happen. That's a reward. So, in a metaphorical sense, heaven and hell are real. And we just happen to be in the negative or hell like side of this experience right now. You want out of it? Well, we just showed you how. You have to understand this construct. And once you understand this construct, then you have to watch this pattern and not allow it to manipulate you. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the zoomed in 24-hour period for day 4. That's what this is. This is zoomed in. And what we want you to see is we want you to be able to see these electromagnetic peaks, and we synchronize it with time. And not only do we synchronize it with the times of the day, we synchronize it to all 24 time zones. So if you don't have good internet, you come down here, you find your time zone offset. Once you have the proper offset, this holds for 10 seconds. Take a screenshot. Now you've got it on your phone all day long. If you've got good internet all day long, go to our homepage, healthreconnected.com. We have a live feed. There's a time bar that progresses through this electromagnetic sequence. Every time you feel defensive, every time someone around you is getting defensive, I want you to open it up and reference it, and you're going to see that that time bar is going through one of these electromagnetic peaks. And what you're going to realize is this: you are being manipulated. The people around you are being manipulated. And we thought we were fighting with one another. In fact, that's what this illusion does. It gives us this sense that we have to fight it out and compete with the people around us, when the truth is the only competition that really exists is we're supposed to be overcoming this pattern and not letting that make us make mistakes. The more mistakes we make, the more stress we create. The more stress we create, the more we suffer. That's how this works. All right. So again, the good news today is this: electromagnetic pattern is pretty light. There's a little bit of up here in the first 12 hours in first person, and there's a little bit of up here in the second 12 hours in third person. All in all, though, pretty smooth sailing here. All right, let's transition now and talk about alignments. Alignments are the second way we prove to you that you exist in a sentient space-time reality or a mathematical construct. When an alignment happens, it means two frequencies are testing you at the same time on the same thing. You see, we're always being tested on how well we're doing with our teammates or how balanced our routines are. And when two alignments come together, we show you how long they stay perfectly synchronized. In this alignment, the first one we're going to talk about, stays synchronized for 4 hours. So it's going to be an amplified alignment for 4 hours time, and it's going to put pressure on the upper right quadrant if you're not balanced with your national and world routines. When you have anything in the upper quadrants of the body that have to do with routines, this is for nation and world, okay? And depending on how you invest your time. So if your investment helps you more than it helps the other people in this world, if your investment's not leaving this world a better place, you're not conserving resources, conserving energy, making sure you're doing the things that are going to help limit climate change and stabilize climate, the more out of balance you are with your routines, the more damage you're going to take to this right upper quadrant for that 4 hour period of time. This is when you're going to feel a headache come on. This is when your shoulder is going to start to ache. This is when you're going to get indigestion. This can also affect things that are happening around you. This is when you're going to get in a car accident and this part of your body is going to be affected. Or this is when you're going to fall down. That's what these things are about. Now, we call things accidents, but in space-time reality, this is biofeedback. There is no such thing as an accident. Negative biofeedback is telling you you're out of balance. Positive biofeedback is telling you you're in balance. So if you're doing everything you can to make sure that our nation or our world are going to be better because of your efforts and your routines, then during this 4 hour alignment, you're going to expect good things to happen, like you're going to hit every green light, or you're going to have a boost of energy. And if you're perfectly balanced with this, it doesn't do bad, it actually does good. You can heal this part of your body. So don't look at this as a negative thing. I want you to see this as an opportunity, okay? So that's dispersed alignment, just another way we can prove to you you're in a mathematical construct. The second one is an hour-and-a-half alignment. This is going to test how well we get along with younger teammates. Now, when it comes to teammates, it's the same whether they're younger or older. Can you talk with them? Can you cooperate with them? Can you coordinate with them? Can you help alleviate and work through their stress with them? And can you encourage them and do balanced routines with them? Now, as long as that's what you can do, whether they're older or younger, then great. You're going to be in alignment with teammates and you're not going to have problems. If you're having problems getting along with the younger teammates, it's not so easy to communicate and be positive with them that you end up being defensive and negative. The more unbalanced you are with the younger teammates, the more in this hour and a half you're going to have destructive interference start to destroy this lower left quadrant. Now, these alignments are just periods of time when we can point out what's happening so that you can see why you got Charlie horse at that time, or why your low back started to increase in pain, or why digestion may be fired up at that time, or why your left foot hurt during that time. Okay. That just helps us prove this to you. But please understand, we are 24/7 being tested by these frequencies. These are not the only time your body's taking damage. Your body's taking damage 24/7 the more unbalanced you are. That's just how this works. So if you wondered why some people age faster than other people, or why some people have a lot more health problems than other people, it has to do with their choices, and it has to do with how they get along with their teammates. Now you know. All right, let's talk about the testing sequence. Listing sequence is kind of up and down today. You can see how, for example, in the left upper quadrant, it's a little bit lower, and then in the second 12 hours, it jumps up. Now, same thing here. If we get to a 4 or above, that's a lot. If it's below a 4, not so much. So in the first 12 hours, if left quadrant isn't so bad, but then you start to feel some left shoulder knots or some tightness in your neck in the second 12 hours, just because you're getting tested more on how balanced you are in these two relationships. Now, you can see right upper quadrant, that's at the 3, in between the 3 and the 4 the entire time. However, left lower quadrant, if you start out with lots of left lower quadrant tension and tightness, and it goes on for the first 12 hours and then even into the second, because this is still above a 4 too. This is a day where left lower quadrant's really going to get tested, which really means you're being tested on how well you're getting along with the younger teammates and how balanced your smaller routines are, okay? Now, right lower quadrant, not so much. We're at the 4 and then this one tails off. So the two big ones today are actually on the left side. Now, when we come to these charts show you where the strongest frequencies are going to be in this next 24-hour period of time. And you can see there's an imbalance. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the strongest frequencies on the left side, which means there's only 3 on the right side. And in first person perspectives, there's nothing on the right side for strong frequencies, which means this is teammates. So if you have 24 hours worth of right sided pain, things going on in the upper right or lower right quadrant, and they go on for the entire 24 hours, it's telling you right there, you've got routine problems. It's telling you need to be doing more at the national and family level. That's what that's telling you. Now, in these other quadrants where there's overlap, if you have pain on the left side of your body, is it teammates or is it routine? Well, that's what our software is for. Document once you feel, when you feel it. You can pop that into our software. It'll show you exactly where you're struggling, if it's routines that's causing it or if it's teammates that causing it. But please don't overcomplicate this. It's 8 things. Commit to your team, balance your routine, and I promise you this, everybody's routines have to change drastically. If everyone doesn't change their routine drastically, then our world and our national problems are going to continue to amplify until this gets really unpleasant, and it's already pretty much there. All right, let's end this out. So, last thing we're going to talk about is the 2024 electromagnetics. We posted them. No more mystery. When this pattern goes up, social tension goes up. When this pattern goes up, weather events go up. When this pattern subsides, those two things subside. We are showing this to individuals because we are trying to empower you to eliminate the stress that affects you at the individual level. Now, if we get 1 or 2 individuals eliminating their stress, that will make no difference in the bigger picture. But if we can get regions or nations of people understanding this pattern, preparing for this pattern, overcoming their defensive design, cooperating and balancing their routines, we can change everything. We can bring down social tension and we can start to limit the amount of catastrophes that are happening. We can even start to stabilize our climate. That's how this works. Space-time reality allows us to do that, but to do it, we have to make the commitment. We have to do this together. That's what we're trying to empower you to do. All right, we'll see you in the next 24 hours.